All right, guys, welcome back to another video. Today, we're going to be making a video on the top tools I think I found essential as a Toyota tech through my TXM Pro years into early line tech to later line tech. These are going to be the more common and uncommon tools you'll use and don't think you'll use, but you should probably have in your toolbox so that when the time comes, you have them and you get the job more efficiently, and you're not looking around for somebody who has them and wasting time. As we know, flat rate system is pretty tough, and especially during slow seasons, it's very important to have the right tools to get the job done right, quicker, and faster, not only for you to flag more hours, but to get the car out and get it back into the customer's hands. So let's just go ahead and get right into it. And like I said, this is going to be kind of a wider range. I did one video a little while ago for loop techs of the tools I think are essential for loop techs, as well as more efficiency for flat rate. So this video, we're not going over basic sockets and ratchets and things that you should already have. These are going to be more things that are kind of uncommon as you progress through Toyota. So starting out, we're going to be this clutch OTC alignment kit. This thing is about 50 or 60 bucks when I bought it on Amazon. It's probably about the same price. This is one of those tools that you might not think you need, but we still do, or when I was at Toyota, we still did get clutches from older cars that came in that needed clutches. And usually the older guys that have been around for a while had these tools. And if they were off, or if it was a Saturday, most of those guys are off on Saturday, so their toolboxes are locked. So you're kind of struggling and trying to figure out who has them. And we all know how the SST toolbox is. The tools always grow legs and just somehow walk away. So it's always good to just have your own clutch alignment tool so you're not reliant on anybody else. So when you do get that manual car and you need help from a shop foreman or somebody else, you already have the tool, they're impressed, they help you out, you get the job done a lot faster. Next one's going to be this billet tools off Amazon. This is a wheel bearing and seal press kit. This thing is amazing because same thing, the press at work, usually the presses that they give you or the spacers they give you like this, they're either too small or the right ones, again, grow legs and disappear. So you're struggling to try to find tools throughout the entire shop, trying to reuse old bearings to press out wheel bearings and things like that. I didn't want to do that, so whenever I had wheel bearings, I just grabbed this box, put it on my rolling cart, grabbed my pliers that I needed, my snap ring pliers for Toyota, and I went back into the room and I pressed it out, having to use only my tools. So this is going to be kind of a combo one. Here's a snap-on tool here, SRP2A. This one is great for the snap rings on them. It has that little 90-degree bend, and it just grabs snap ring pliers really well. You can also grab these bigger ones, snap ring pliers from Snap-on or anyone that kind of sells something like this to get those snap rings out of those wheel bearings before you press them out. So those are going to kind of go hand in hand with these. And for me, I really only use these three, and that's why I have them out. So I had the 81 millimeter, as you can see, got used probably the most out of these three. Then we had 76 millimeter. Kind of got used, but not that much. That one was probably second most used, and then the last most used was 72 millimeter. So this set was probably about 35 bucks. To me, it was worth spending 35 bucks just to have my own toolkit. So like I said, I just grabbed my three snap ring pliers. I grabbed my box here for the press, and I just rolled my cart over there, did my job, rolled back, put it in my box, and I didn't let anyone borrow it because all the tools just go missing, and I don't want to be struggling trying to find my tools when I got to get my job done, especially on the flat rate system. Next one, this one's going to be more towards TXM Pro here, these next couple of ones. If you're just getting onto the line, this is kind of an older recall, but we had the fuel pumps going bad, and you have to take that fuel pump ring off. This is a Cornwell tool, HRC 25350. This is to get it on the snap ring, or I'm sorry, not the snap ring, but the fuel ring to get it off. This is amazing because, again, the tools are going to disappear, so just have yours in your own box and you know where it's at. And the moment you get that recall, I forget the recall, it's like 23TA01 or something like that. If you get it and you see it on your RO when you locate a vehicle, you already know, let me pull this tool out, let me get it ready, go get the car, and you already have the tool. You don't have to worry about looking for it, who has it, who forgot to put it back, etc. So just have this in your box. I'm not sure how much Toyota is getting them now, but if you are still getting a lot of them, it's nice to have. Next one's gonna be, again, for a TXM Pro, just getting in, or early line tech. This is a Blue Point YA 3080 and Blue Point YA 3050. You can get both of these on Amazon for under Lyle. You don't have to get Blue Point. You can go on Amazon and get Lyle. But these things are a must, especially if your shop rebuilds CV axles. As a TXM Pro, you might be doing them. It depends on your skills and how much the shop likes you and they see that you actually know what you're doing. But especially early line tech, you're gonna be using these a lot. So especially if your shop rebuilds. So buy them because you're going to be using them a whole lot. They're definitely a must for Toyota. Next one, kind of early tech, TXM Pro, is a stethoscope. You will need a stethoscope. Wheel bearings, diagnosing wheel bearings, put the car on, turn traction control off, put it in drive, and you can listen to what wheel bearing is going bad. You can listen to water pumps. You can listen to a whole bunch of different things with the stethoscope, and it just makes your diagnosis a lot easier when you can really solidify which side is bad. You know, you can always do the weaving road test, and if you really want to make sure, you can put it up in the air and just use your stethoscope. But I think this is a must. I did use this a lot at Toyota. I don't use it as much as I do in Porsche as I did Toyota, but I still use it a good amount, and I think it's definitely a must. Next one is for TXM Pro and early line techs as well. These two here. This, I think, is definitely a must. This kind of goes hand in hand with these when you're rebuilding axles or just replacing them. Sometimes, guys, mistakes do happen and you cross thread that axle. You don't want to, especially on a Saturday and the older guys are there, you don't want to not have the tool. So buy this tool. I really recommend it. It's a 22 millimeter die, 22 millimeter by 1.5 from Snap-on. I don't have the part number, but I will try to put the part number down below if I can find it. But just tell your Snap-on guy, especially if they're running the Toyota route, they probably already have it, 22 millimeter by 1.5 die. And go to Napa, get your Carlisle socket, 1 5/8. This is 3/4 with a 1/2 inch adapter, so 1/2 inch to 3/4. There's a Carlisle part number for the adapter, 615302, and there's a Carlisle socket, S34052. Buy this, and if you ever cross-thread an axle, which hopefully you don't, but mistakes do happen, you will be glad that you have it. Next one is the O2 sensor. We know Camrys especially are pretty notorious for it. The AF sensor downstream usually always goes bad, so you're gonna be replacing them. That's one of the most common things I ran across, at least. Maybe all you guys other techs do too. But the AF downstream for Camrys, they do go bad. So I highly recommend buying this O2 sensor. Also, you know, when Priuses, the catalytic converters get cut or whatever, you're usually taking O2 sensors out kind of quite often. At least I was at Toyota. So just get yourself a good O2 sensor socket. You can buy them anywhere. You can get them at Harbor Freight, Amazon, the tool truck, wherever. Just buy them. They're definitely worth it to me. Another tool for TXM Pro, really kind of TXM Pro. If you're on the line, you should already have something like this or a digital one. This is to measure the drums for Tacomas, Tundras, anything that has drums. You push this out and it gives you a measurement here, and you can read it in millimeters, and this will give you the reading. It's like your digital caliper gauge that you read the thickness in the front rotors. This is the same thing, but for drums. I think I got this off Amazon, GW3377. That's the part number. I don't remember who made it, but I do remember I got it off Amazon. So if you don't have it, buy it. I know Gear Wrench sells a digital one that's really nice. I do want that one, but I just don't want to spend the $250 right now for it because I don't need it, especially at Porsche. We don't have, I don't think we're really using anything for drums. So I don't buy it. I don't need it. So if you're at Toyota, think about it if you want to spend that $200, $250, but this one was about $10 and it does the same exact job as the digital one. So I recommend buying that. Next one is going to be, again, more for TXM Pro, early line tech. This one's a Snap-on Pit 120. This is great, especially for the rust states. I lived in Colorado, worked in Colorado, and we got a lot of snow, and the Phillips screw on the rear drums or really anything, because you can take this off and put any socket into it and you just hammer it down and it'll impact that screw or bolt or nut loose. That saved me a couple times using this tool. So I highly recommend using it. I know some of you guys might not agree with it. Maybe the guys in the rust states will, but these are going to be, like I said, the common tools and most uncommon tools you'll think you'll need. But you might not think you need this, but if you have it in your box, you'll find a use for it, and you'll be glad that you have it in your toolbox. Next one's going to be older style, later style techs that are further in and really kind of advancing in their growth at Toyota. And now they're starting to do a little bit more heavier jobs, head gaskets or whatever. And they're doing timing covers, things like that. Get yourselves the head bolt sockets. These are just some of them here that I have. This is a snap-on one, 12-point bihexagonal, they call it. Part number on that, SM12B. That's again from Snap-on. Next one's gonna be an impact version of it, 12 point, so you can impact it. I highly recommend taking it off with the ratchet first, and then you could zap it off if you want, and always go in order. S6194 is the part number on that guy, so it's the same thing there. Highly recommend using them. If you're really serious about your job, you wanna have the right tools to advance in your career. And if you have the right tools and you're working hard, it's going to be noticed. And if you're trying to grow, that's the best way to grow. They'll say, he's got his own tools, he's performing, he's not borrowing tools. It just looks a little bit better if you have the right tools and you're actually showing effort and want to grow. So I'd recommend buying those, as well as those as we're sticking kind of in the front engine area. This is a Lyle tool, 22 millimeter. I don't know how they call it, heavy weighted 22 millimeter. Again, you don't really need it here in California, but in Colorado, when I worked in Colorado, it is nice. As you can tell, it's not used. I never had to use it, but this is definitely a tool that I wanted to make sure that if I did need it, I had it. And the reason I bought it is because I did see a couple guys struggling, and one tech had that, lent it out to a couple techs, and it took it off like it was nothing. I saw it, I bought it, and I said, if I ever need it, I got it. So it's better to have it and not need it than need it and not have it. So I have it in my box. It's not used, and who knows, it might not ever be used unless I pull in a Toyota here to do it at my house. Next one again, this is all levels, TXM Pro, early level line techs, and later in line techs. Wiring jobs, especially if you're doing a lot of wiring jobs and you got to cut a lot of loom or tape. SGTT4B if you want to buy the Snap-on one. I bought it because I needed it at that moment, but if I would have needed it at that moment, I would have just went to Michael's or any other craft store and bought the same exact tool for, I think you can probably get a pack of 3 or 4 for about $6 or $7. I don't even know how much this was, maybe $15. So if you need it and the truck's there, it's nice, but if you don't have it and you want to buy it, look at Michael's or anything else. It's pretty much the same thing. You're gonna have a pack of 3, and if you're there and it's that cheap for $6 or $7, just buy 2 of them. You'll have 6 of them. You probably will never have to run back to Michael's and get more. So that's another tool that I highly recommend having in your toolbox for any wiring repair. Next one, you can see our torches. You have the smaller end torch here. This is the Torch 300. They make the Torch 400, which has a little bit bigger of a end there, which puts out a bigger flame. Or you can get the Bernzomatic from Home Depot, which is my favorite one. And you could always buy some butane and just have a couple cans just in case you need a refill. This is very clutch in Colorado. I've used it a couple times here in California, but I absolutely needed it for Colorado almost every day, especially when I did alignments. I needed it almost all the time for alignments, wheel bearings, sway bar end links, a whole bunch of stuff I just needed that for. Once I moved to back to Colorado, that was used all the time. I probably never touched that. When I moved back from Colorado to California, I touched this very little. I did touch it, here and there, but not as much as I did this because I didn't need to use that much heat because things weren't really that stuck. I really only used that because, somebody really over torqued something and I just kind of loosened it up and made it easier for myself. But torches, if you don't have them, get them. They're definitely clutch. Block tester. This, I don't know how many shops provide it, but some Toyota shops, I've seen it where they'll buy it separate for techs, but then it lasts maybe about a week or two because somebody gets too close, especially if you have a single cylinder block tester, not the dual gauge one or dual chamber. If you have a single chamber, you're kind of risking it. You can get coolant into it, and kind of always messes up the measurement or the reading. So if you want to be on the safe side, I would say get a dual cylinder one. I use the single cylinder one. This was about $18 on Amazon. It's perfect for testing blown head gaskets, especially for Priuses. And you know Priuses are notorious for blowing the head gaskets. So again, this is going to be for a higher end tech or a lower end entry level tech who's growing pretty quick. I would suggest buying them. And along with buying that, get the fluid. And when you buy this one, I think it does come with the fluid, but if not, I highly recommend buying the fluid, which is this guy right here. Block tester, yeah, so this actually came with it. So as you can see, it actually does get used, and these do have shelf life. So after a certain amount of time, I think it's 3 years, you have to get rid of them because this says the fluid is no longer viable or it's no longer in good condition. So just keep that in mind. You might have to keep rebuying them if you don't use them often. So highly recommend getting a block testing kit. Next one, this is for all levels. This is a magnetic base for the dial indicator. For Toyota, you know, when you get warranty brakes, especially for the newer Tundras that are getting the rear brake pads really worn down very quickly, and any other really cars that you need warranty brakes, but very, very big on the new Tundras. You get the warranty brake sheet for Toyota, you know it, and they ask for the dial indicator, they ask for the rotor runout, they ask for the minimum specs or the thickness of the rotor, etc. Have it, it's good to have. It's also good to have for travel and the thrust bearings and really whatever you're doing. Maybe Pittsburgh's not the best for fine engine work, but for rotor runout, this is the best thing you're gonna have. It's so cheap. I think this was about 15 bucks and that was $7. So, I mean, it's $22, $23 with tax, whatever it was, out the door. And it gets you your rotor runout jobs done quick so you can do your brake sheet for Toyota. I suggest buying them. It's worth it. And if you want to get a more fine, higher end brand for the engine work, you can do that. But I recommend at least getting something so you can do your job. Next one are seal pullers. There are so many different seal pullers. This one doesn't really get much use. I don't really like it. But I do have it just in case it comes in handy. This is probably my most used one. I love this one. If you guys are entry-level techs, I suggest buying it because you are going to be pulling a lot of seals and replacing seals. Higher-end techs, if you're doing cam seals for Toyota, this is a Matco tool. You might be able to find it somewhere else. I don't know. I've only found it on Matco, LSP1. This is, I mean, fantastic for cam seals. It is so thin. You could even see how it thins out here, how it has that ledge. It gets really thin on this scoop side. You can stick it in between the seal and the head, and then you can just pry into there and bend it out. It even gives you a little leverage point right here. I think this is probably the best tool for cam seals. I actually lost one. This one is brand new. I just bought it probably a week ago or 2 weeks ago. I came across it again on my Matco truck at Porsche, and I bought it even though I'm not at Toyota because you never know what can happen. Maybe I end up back there or I get it here in my home garage and I need to do cam seals. I loved this one for those cam seals. So I highly suggest it for the older guys or the higher end line techs. LSP1 again for Matco tools. Buy it. It's definitely a must because it's just the thinnest one. It beats hammering a thin shaved down flathead screwdriver or whatever else you guys try using. I suggest just buying it. It's about $30 and it works great for me. Next one, obviously TXM Pro. You're going to be doing a lot of brakes. You can see you're going to be using number 7 practically all the time at Toyota. This is EWK off of Amazon, and it's a pneumatic one. So just put your adapter onto there, put your air hose, and you can pull your trigger here while winding it in, and it just makes those retractable caliper brakes so much easier. However, pay attention when you do it, because this thing does shoot out very fast and you can tear the seal on that caliper, and now you've caused a bigger issue. So be very, very mindful when you're doing it, because you can cause more bad than good. But it is definitely a must, I think, because flat rate, you're only getting 2 hours, especially if you're having to resurface the rotors. Just make it as fast as you can to get those 2 hours done in 30 minutes, 40 minutes, an hour, however long it takes you. Get it done faster with that. I think it's definitely a must. This, because everyone should have it. TXM Pro, early entry line tech, higher end line techs. This is exhaust hanger pliers, especially for the cats that get stolen off of Priuses, or anytime you're removing exhaust for transmissions, or whatever you're doing that you need to remove the exhaust. It just makes your job so much easier. You're not fighting anything. I think this is definitely a must. And then lastly, on this end are these Knipex big pliers. I really only see these on older techs, the older guys that's been there doing it for a while. These huge pliers, I really only see them in the older guys' box. I don't really see them in newer tech's box, so I decided to throw them out just to kind of bring them back in again. You can use these to compress the normal style pistons in, the 1-pot pistons. Maybe not so much the 2-pot, but 1-pot, and it just makes it so much easier. Another thing I use these for a lot was Tacomas and 4Runners for the rear struts. When you have to put your ratchet here, your ratcheting wrench, and you got to get in between the frame and that stud or the bolt on top. Sometimes it's tight and it's loose, and that's when this is going to come in handy. You can heat it up, put your ratcheting wrench in there, and what I used to do was open this up, and you're replacing the strut anyway, so I would open it up and then I would grip the strut with these pliers and hold it in place while I'm loosening the nut up top. That's what worked best for me, and it made it so much quicker. And then you would take your nut out, take the bottom bolt out, and the strut comes right out. So I don't know, you honestly, you can use these for a lot of different applications, so I decided I'd just throw them in there. And lastly, we'll finish this with higher end techs. This is going to be a higher end job if you're getting into your maybe higher end certified level or early expert level, and you're pretty much a good tech. You're going to start doing bigger jobs, and they're going to trust you with bigger jobs. So I got these off Amazon, Moroso headstands. This is for doing, any kind of big jobs where you're replacing stuff on the heads, where you're replacing the valves and the rocker arms and things like that. So you can get your valve lapping tools. You can get them from Carlisle, Amazon, Tool Truck, wherever you want to get them. I got these at Napa. They're both Carlisle brand. You got the truck ones and the car ones. And with that, you'll definitely want to get some valve grinding compound. This is to lap the valves on the valve seat. So I recommend getting those as well as these. This is, I think, a Tool Truck brand. This is to pop them off, the little keepers. You'll definitely use that. And these, and then this little organizer, I think, is just really good because you can put everything that you're working on here in order, and you kind of know where you go. Especially if you're putting buckets, you can put your buckets in the corresponding spot. I don't know, I think this is just one of those tools that just made it easier. You can put this up on your toolbox or rolling table or wherever you're doing it. You get the head off the ground, you can work on it a little easier. So that's kind of more of a major job if you're doing it. But these are some of the tools I really think you'll need as a TXM Pro, early entry line tech, or later stage line tech, and you didn't know about these tools. Maybe it'll help you out in the future. But without further ado, I appreciate all of you guys watching. And if you guys liked the video, please like it or comment down below if I was missing any tool that entry level guys should know about. But until then, we'll see you guys on the next video.